Let me ask you something before we even begin. Right now, today, in this exact season of your life, are you tired? Not sleepy tired, not I need a nap tired. I'm talking about that deep bone level, soul level exhaustion that comes from pushing a boulder up a hill every single day and watching it roll back down every single night. And if that's you, I want you to stay right here, because what I'm about to share with you is not motivation for motivation's sake. This is not fluff. This is not a pep talk you forget in 20 minutes. This is a blueprint for the moment when quitting starts to look like relief. Because let's be honest with each other. Everybody loves talking about the grind when things are going well. Everybody wants to post about discipline when the results are already showing up. But nobody wants to talk about the 3 a.m. moment. Nobody wants to talk about the moment when you're staring at the ceiling, when the business isn't working, when the relationship is strained, when the body is tired, when the bank account is thin, and a quiet voice inside you whispers, maybe this isn't for you. That voice is a liar, and today we are going to expose that liar for exactly what it is. See, here's the first thing you have to understand. The desire to quit is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that you are close. Nobody who is far from the finish line feels the temptation to stop. You don't get tempted to quit a race you haven't started. You don't feel exhausted climbing a mountain you're still standing at the base of. The exhaustion, the frustration, the I don't know if I can keep doing this feeling, that shows up precisely because you have been moving. You have been climbing, you have been in the fight. So if you feel like quitting today, let that be evidence not of your failure, but of your progress. Write that down. Say it out loud if you have to. My desire to quit is proof that I am closer than I think. Now let's talk about why we quit, because if you don't understand the why, you'll keep falling into the same trap over and over again for the rest of your life. People don't quit because the goal was wrong. People quit because they misjudged the price. Somewhere along the way, somebody sold you a lie that success was going to feel good the whole way through. Somebody sold you a highlight reel and called it a roadmap. Or you saw the yacht, you saw the stage, you saw the transformation photo, but nobody showed you the 18-hour days. Nobody showed you the rejection emails. Nobody showed you the nights they cried in their car before walking into the house with a smile so the kids wouldn't worry. So when the real price showed up at your door, it felt like betrayal. It felt like something had gone wrong, but nothing went wrong. You just met the bill. Every single vision has a bill attached to it, and the size of your dream determines the size of that bill. If you want a small, comfortable, unremarkable life, the bill is small. But if you want to build something that outlives you, something that changes your family tree, something that makes the people who doubted you go silent, the bill is going to be steep, and you are not going to be able to pay that bill with motivation alone, or you're going to pay it with decision. That's the real secret nobody tells you. Motivation was never designed to carry you the whole way. Motivation is a spark, not a fuel tank. It gets you off the starting line, but it will not run the whole race with you, because motivation is a feeling, and feelings are the least reliable thing on planet Earth. Feelings change with your sleep, your hormones, your bank account, the weather, a text message you didn't expect. You cannot build an empire on something that's fickle. What carries you is decision. What carries you is identity. What carries you is becoming the kind of person who does the work whether they feel like it or not, because they have decided who they are. And that decision no longer requires daily debate. Let me say that again, because it might be the single most important sentence in this entire video. Successful people are not more motivated than you. They have simply removed the daily debate. They don't wake up every morning asking, should I show up today? They decided that question a long time ago, and now it's just a matter of execution. You are still negotiating with yourself every single morning, and that negotiation is exhausting you far more than the actual work ever could. The work isn't what's wearing you down. The war inside your own head is what's wearing you down. So how do you end that war? How do you stop feeling like quitting every time life gets heavy? I'm going to give you real weapons right now, not platitudes, weapons. The first weapon is this: reconnect with your reason and make it bigger than your feelings. Most people fail because their reason is too small to survive contact with real resistance. I want to make more money is not a big enough reason. That will crumble the first time things get hard. But I refuse to let my children inherit the same fear and lack that I inherited. That's a reason with teeth. That's a reason that will get you out of bed on the day you feel like giving up. If your why can be talked out of you over a bad week, it was never big enough to begin with. So sit down today, and I mean today, not tomorrow, not when things calm down, today, and rewrite your reason until it makes you emotional, until it makes your hands shake a little when you read it. That's how you know it's real. The second weapon is this: stop asking whether you feel like doing it, and start asking who you become if you do it anyway. Feelings are not facts, and they were never meant to be your compass. You are not your feelings. You are the one who witnesses your feelings and chooses anyway. Every single time you do the hard thing while feeling like quitting, you are making a deposit into your own identity. You are proving to yourself on a cellular level that you are somebody who keeps promises, even to yourself, especially to yourself. And every time you quit when it gets hard, you are making a withdrawal from that same account. You are teaching your own nervous system that you cannot be trusted, that your word means nothing, even to you. So ask yourself right now in this moment, which account do I want to keep building? Because both accounts are being built whether you're paying attention or not. The third weapon is this: shrink the target until it becomes impossible to fail. When you feel like quitting, it's usually because your mind has zoomed out to the entire mountain. You're not thinking about the next step, you're thinking about the summit that's still years away, and that image alone is enough to crush anybody. So stop looking at the mountain, look at your feet. What is the one next action so small, so simple, that even a version of you with zero motivation could still do it? Send the one message, write the one paragraph, make the one call, do the one rep. Momentum is not created by huge leaps. Momentum is created by small, consistent, almost boring actions repeated long after the excitement wears off. The people you admire, the ones who look like they have it all figured out, they are not more talented than you. They simply kept showing up on the boring days, the days with no applause, the days with no progress you could see with your own eyes, but progress was happening underground, in the roots where nobody could see it yet. And that brings me to the fourth weapon, and this one is going to hit different if you let it. You have to understand that growth is happening even when results are invisible. Think about a bamboo tree. A Chinese bamboo tree is planted, watered, and fertilized every single day, and for 4 years, you see absolutely nothing. 4 years of watering something that appears completely dead. Any sane person would quit after year one. Or most people quit after month one, but in the 5th year, that bamboo tree grows over 80 feet in 6 weeks. Now, I want you to think about that. Did that tree suddenly grow 80 feet in 6 weeks? Or was it growing the entire time underground, building a root system strong enough to support that explosion, invisible to everyone who was watching and judging from the surface? Your life is that bamboo tree. Every rep you put in that isn't showing results yet, every skill you're building that no one is applauding, every relationship you're repairing that isn't fully healed yet, that is root system, that is not failure. That is preparation for an explosion that the impatient version of you will never live to see, because the impatient version of you quits in year 3. Now, here's the part that most motivational content is too scared to tell you, but I'm not scared, so let's go there together. Sometimes you feel like quitting, not because you're weak, but because you are surrounded by the wrong people. You cannot consistently fly with eagles while nesting with chickens and expect to keep your motivation intact. If everyone around you is comfortable with mediocrity, your ambition will start to feel like an inconvenience to them, and slowly, quietly, without ever saying it out loud, they will chip away at your fire until it matches theirs. Look at your circle. Look at who you spend the most time with. Are they calling out the greatness in you, or are they calling you back down to where they feel safe? This is not permission to be cruel or arrogant. This is a call to be intentional. Protect your fire like it's the most valuable resource you own, because it is. Let's talk about failure for a second, because failure is usually the trigger point where people decide to quit. Here's what you need to reframe permanently, starting today. Failure is not proof that you should stop. Failure is data. It is information. It is your business, your body, your relationship, your dream, giving you direct feedback on what needs to be adjusted. The people who win big are not the people who fail the least. They are the people who failed the most and refuse to let that failure become the final chapter of their story. They treated every failure like a tuition payment for a lesson they needed to learn before they could handle the level of success they were asking for. If you had gotten what you wanted 6 months ago with the skills, mindset, and character you had 6 months ago, would you have been able to sustain it? Or would it have destroyed you? Sometimes the delay isn't punishment, or sometimes the delay is protection, giving you time to become the person who can actually carry the weight of what you're asking for. I need you to hear this next part clearly, because it might be the difference between you quitting tonight and you becoming unstoppable. Discipline is not about how you feel. Discipline is doing what you said you would do long after the mood you set it in has left. Anybody can commit in the moment of inspiration. That's easy. That's cheap. Real strength is committing on a Tuesday afternoon when nobody is watching, nobody is clapping, and every single fiber of your body wants to lay down and rest. That Tuesday afternoon, when you push through anyway, that's the moment your entire future is being decided. They're not on the stage, not in the highlight reel, in the boring, invisible, unglamorous middle where most people give up right before the breakthrough. And listen, I want you to understand something about timing, because this is where so many people lose hope. You will almost never see the finish line right before you break through. In fact, the darkest part of most journeys happens right before the light. Think about it like a tunnel. The deepest point of darkness in a tunnel is not at the entrance and it's not at the exit. It's somewhere in the middle, in the part where you can no longer see where you came from and you can't yet see where you're going. That's exactly where quitting feels most logical. And that's exactly why so many people quit at the worst possible moment. One that is often closer to the light than they will ever know, because they gave up right before the curve that would have shown them the exit. So what do you do in that tunnel? You don't need to see the whole path. You just need enough light for the next step. You don't need a 5-year guarantee. You need today's decision. Decide today, not forever, just today, that you will not let this be the day you quit. Tomorrow, you make that same decision again, and the day after that. That's it. That's the entire secret disguised as something complicated. Winners are not people who make one heroic decision and coast forever. Winners are people who make the same small, boring, unremarkable decision to keep going every single day until that decision compounds into something the world calls an overnight success, even though you and I both know there was nothing overnight about it. Now, before we close this out, I need you to do something with everything you just heard, because information without action is just entertainment, and you did not come here to be entertained. You came here to change, so here's your assignment. Right now, today, write down the one reason you almost quit this month. Then write down underneath it the one small action you will take in the next 24 hours despite that reason. Not next week, not when I feel ready, in the next 24 hours. Because a decision that isn't attached to a deadline is just a wish, and wishes don't build empires, decisions do. If this message met you exactly where you needed to be met today, I need you to do 2 things for me right now before you close this video and get pulled back into the noise of your day. First, hit that subscribe button, because this channel exists for one reason: to keep pouring truth and strategy into people who refuse to settle for an average life. There are more messages like this one coming, and I don't want you to miss a single one of them, especially on the days you'll need it most, because trust me, those days are coming for all of us. Second, in the comments below, I want you to type the words, "I will not quit." Not because typing 3 words changes your life by itself, but because declaring it publicly creates a level of accountability that private thoughts never will. When you say it out loud or type it where others can see it, you make it harder to break that promise in silence. Let this comment section become a wall of people who refuse to fold when it got hard. Let it become proof for you and for everyone else watching that you are still standing. Because here's the truth I want you to carry with you long after this video ends: quitting will always be available to you. It will always be right there, offering relief, offering comfort, offering an end to the discomfort you feel right now. But so will continuing. Both options are always on the table every single day for the rest of your life. The only difference between the person who eventually wins and the person who eventually gives up is which option they choose to pick up over and over again. Especially on the days when picking up continuing feels almost impossible. And you get to choose that today. You get to choose it tomorrow. And if you choose it enough times in a row, long enough, you will wake up one day in a life your old self wouldn't even recognize. Not because you were the most talented person in the room, not because you had the easiest path, but because on the day you felt like quitting, you decided one more time to stay. So stay. Do the next small thing. Protect your fire. Trust the root system you can't see yet. And when you're ready to keep building alongside people who are doing the exact same thing, hit subscribe, drop that comment, and let's keep going together, one decision at a time.